In this tutorial, we are going to work with the Enfold theme, and this is gonna be a complete introduction to the Enfold theme and how you can use it. So the Enfold theme is a premium WordPress theme. It's really popular and it doesn't have a free version, so you have to just buy it for testing it, but it has lots of demos and there are lots of reviews and lots of stuff to read to make your decision. So now I just have a fresh installation of WordPress and I haven't done anything to this website. We are going to install the Enfold theme and play with the settings and see what it has to offer. And this is gonna be a complete introduction and complete review of the Enfold theme and how you can work with it. So we are going to review all of the settings, all of the features and everything it has to offer. So I'm just going to my admin panel and appearance and themes and add new. And of course we have to upload the theme. I have just the zip file of the theme. You have to, when you purchase it, you get the zip file for the latest version and then you can just upload it. I just click on open and install now. And now it says the theme is installed successfully and we can just activate it. So out of the box, this is the look and feel of the theme. This is what you get, but you can just customize anything that you want. So don't let this fool you. You can just get anything that you want. And unlike other WordPress themes, the customization is not here. So if I just click on customize here, we have pretty basic stuff here. We can just change the site title and tagline and the menus, which are also available in the backend of the WordPress in the menu section, and also widgets and homepage setting and pretty much basic stuff. So Enfold is not putting settings here unlike other themes, and the reason is that Enfold has lots of options, lots of options. So if I bring my admin panel, you can see that we have two new sections added to our panel: the portfolio items, which we will talk about, and the Enfold. And if I just click on Enfold, this is the page where you can control all of your settings. So we have lots of panels here and we can just control pretty much everything. So from here, you can take two approach. The first one is that you start with the default installation and you just start customizing anything that you like. So you put the logo, you maybe change the front page to a static page, rather than displaying your blogs, and you control the headers and sidebars and footers and colors. You can see that we have lots of options for colors and everything. And the other method or the other alternative is that you import a demo. So we have demo import section here and we have a bunch of free demos. All of them are free, and the nice thing about them is that they are only built using the Enfold page builder, which we will talk about. So for example, you can see that we have this loading section and hero image and this countdowns and these images and galleries. All of them, even the animations and hover effects, are just made with the Enfold theme, and that's pretty nice. And you can see that we have a slim header and the logo on the left, and so every demo here has its own style. You can just play with them and it's really good. I really encourage you to work with them and to play with them because each one of them has its own style and all of them are just built with the settings available here. So for example, this main demo of the Enfold has a search bar, and you can see that we have a thicker menu and you can just play with them. So it's completely up to you with which path you are taking. For this exercise, we are going to import one of these demos and then start working with it from there. And if you are going to just make your own website from scratch and not import any demo, then you can just do it, because we are reviewing the settings and the settings are similar, so it doesn't make any difference which way you choose. One note here is that if you import one demo and then you feel like that you don't like it and you want to use another demo, you shouldn't just import the next one, because of course the images and the posts and pages will stay, and also it doesn't work well because these demos should be installed on a fresh installation of WordPress. So what you can do is to use this WordPress reset tool, which Enfold is actually saying as a notice. So you can just download it. There are many reset plugins. Actually, I don't recommend using this plugin because it hasn't been updated for the current version of WordPress. So if you just search for reset on the repository of plugins, this is the most popular option here, WP Reset. You can just download it and do a reset and then install your second demo. So we are going to just use a light demo that doesn't need any plugin like WooCommerce or any contact form, and I think this demo is what we want, the gym demo. So I'm just going to import it. So now the demo is completely imported, and as you can see, the logo has been updated. And if I just visit my website, you can see that we have a new look. So all of these pages have been generated for us, they have been imported. So we have a gallery and the price section and the news section. Now we can work with this demo, and the settings would be completely the same. The only difference is that this demo has imported its own setting, which can make our job easier, and we can also get some ideas. So this is something that you probably want to do when you are not much familiar with the Enfold, but when you get more familiar with the Enfold, then you can just start from scratch, or you can just have a base design, because Enfold allows you to export your settings. So after you just modify the defaults and find what you really like, then you can just export all of the settings. So we have this export functionality and also import functionality, and then you can just start from there rather than importing a pre-made demo. So now the first option here is the theme options. Here you can control which page would be shown and used as the front page. In this case, we are using the welcome page, and here you can select the page where you would display your post. If you want to show your post at your front page, then you can just select the same page, for example, welcome, and then your post would be shown in welcome, and the page that holds your post is just a simple page. So if I just bring pages and news, you can see that this is an empty page. So you just have to create an empty page with whatever name and whatever URL that you want, and then Enfold will populate it with your post. So you don't have to just do anything. You can just set the name and title, and everything would be fine. And then we can choose the favicon. So the favicon is the icon that is used when you bookmark a page. It's shown based on your browser, or it can be shown up in the corner, and you can just choose a favicon. We can also use a page preloader. So if I turn it on and save changes, you can see that whenever someone loads a page preloader will be shown. You can also customize it or use your own logo. I'm just going to turn it off. You can also control page transitions here. We also have the lightbox modal window turned on by default. It means that whenever someone clicks on an image, a lightbox will be open. So if I just, for example, bring pricing, okay, not in the pricing page, I'm just so whenever you have a clickable image and someone clicks on that, lightbox, so-called lightbox, will be open, and the background would be darkened and dimmed. It's just something that you probably want to use. It's very popular in websites. And you can use maintenance mode. So if you are maintaining your website and changing something, or maybe you haven't made your website, so you are putting it on the server, but you still haven't put your content, and you can just put it on maintenance mode and redirect to a page. So you can just create a page with any kind of page builder that you want, and then any traffic would be redirected to that page. That's really cool. So you don't need to use any kind of extra plugin for this functionality. You can also change your block editor to the legacy editor, the classic editor if you want, but by default it's going to use the block editor, or so-called Gutenberg editor. I'm just going to save all changes. And the next section is general layout. And here we can control the general layout of our website. By default, it's set to stretch layout, but you can choose box layout, which will create a box around your website and the content cannot go any further. And we also have fixed frame, but I think most of the case you're going to stick with either stretch layout or box layout, but stretch layout is the most popular option. You can also set the position of your logo. It's by default on the top header. You can put it on the left header or the right header if you want. And here in the dimensions, we can control the maximum container width. It's fine by default because most of the themes use a number like this, but you can just change it to anything that you want, or even 100%. The nice thing here is that you can control the ratio between content and sidebar. I really like it. So if you have a heavy sidebar with lots of content, you can just use a larger portion for it, but you can just make it smaller if you want. Fine. You can also set the content plus sidebar width. So by default, 90% of your total width would be used for content plus sidebar. But if you want to have a narrower design, then you can just use lower numbers. So 90 is just fine, but you can just use lower numbers if you want, or even higher numbers. But really, you want to give your reader some space, so don't go above 90%. And I'm just going to save changes. And then we have general styling, and like imports, here we can use a predefined color scheme, which is really cool. So we have these color schemes here, for example, box blue or box grunge or elegant red. So if I just, for example, change it to wine and save changes and revisit my website, you can see that the buttons and hover color and these things have been changed. So you can just change things using a predefined color schemes, but we really shouldn't and don't need to use a color scheme. You can just create your own scheme. So you can just use a basic one that is more similar to what you are creating, because it can reduce the time needed. So you can just, for example, use black and white, something that is near what you are intending to create, and then you can just change any kind of color. You can change the color for logo area, and you get an instant preview here. So if I change the font color or the background color, I get a preview instantly here, which is super cool. You can also change the menu content, the alternate content, footer, and socket. The socket is this bar here with additional data. So if I just change it, you can see that it automatically updates and gives me a preview. And you can also change body background, and you can also control the fonts here. It's nice. So you can use any kind of plugin that you want, but Enfold has its own options for controlling fonts. Then we have advanced styling, and here you can change the style for specific HTML elements. So you can, for example, change the style for body tags or P, or body tag or P, or strong, or the headings, or the main menu. I personally don't use this feature much because it's much easier to use a CSS plugin like Site Origin CSS or any kind of CSS plugin, or just manually use your browser and then target elements and then finally put the style in the quick style or any kind of CSS editor. So I usually don't use it, and we have a tutorial on CSS, and you can just check that out, because the problem with this editor is that you cannot get instant preview, so it's somehow hard to work with it. Then we have the main menu, and by default we have a text menu for and by text menu they mean just this ordinary menu. And then we have mobile menu, but you can just see it as icon, and if I just save changes, we get this menu, which would be used for your mobile preview and desktop preview. So you get the same menu, but if you do not like it, you can just stick with the default text, and then you have your options for mobile menu, because by default just creates a very nice mobile menu for you, but you can control how it looks. And then we have some options for the burger mobile menu here as well, and we also have some styling like the width and the menu color. You can just change them, And then we have some options for the header. So the position of the logo can be changed, logo left or right or center, and also the height. So if you want to have a thicker header, we can just change the height and make it smaller. We also have a bunch of styles, free styles, minimal with drop shadow, or just the default. You can just change them, and you can also display the breadcrumb, and the breadcrumb is just a small text that shows where the user is. So if I just display the breadcrumb here and save changes, you can see that it says you are here at home, or you are here at home / classes. I just turn it off and hide both in most cases. So I just click on save changes, and now of course we do not have it. So the next section is sidebar setting. So you can control where the sidebar is located. So you can control it on archive pages, on blog, and single post entries, and also pages. And you can also hide it or show it on smartphones or show the navigation. These settings are straightforward. You can also control your footer settings, so how many columns you have. You can also add a copyright text which will be displayed in the bottom of your footer. You can also check to display social icons, and you can just set them here. We will talk about it. And then we have some settings for the layout builder. So by default, they're just fine. You really do not need to change them. And also this setting, custom elements, you can just forget about these two settings. And also here we can change the blog layout. So we have 3 different options here: default, elegant, and more modern, business. You can just play with them and see which one you like. You can change how the blog looks. We have also grid layout by default, which is really cool. Usually people want grid layout, and this themes offers it out of the box. And we have social profiles. You can add your social profiles here, and then whenever you add social profiles, whether it's in the header or footer or sidebar, then these will appear with the appropriate links. Then we can just set some options here, the performance or cookies. They're just all fine by default, so you really should not change them unless you have a reason. So I'm just going to not cover them. And we also have newsletters, so you can just integrate your Enfold with MailChimp API or Google services. Again, we are not going to talk about them. And you can, of course, import demos or export your own demos and update your theme. So you can see that you have lots of customization and lots of freedom here, but it's not the end of the features. One thing that we didn't talk about is the dedicated page builder. So if I just select a page, for example, the welcome page, you can see that it's not built using any additional page builder, and it's not Gutenberg. This is the default out-of-the-box page builder of Enfold. That's really nice. There are not lots of themes that offer their own page builders. Divi is one of them, and Enfold is one of them, and this page builder is really cool. So you can just play with it. It just works like any kind of other page builder. So if you use any kind of page builder, be it Gutenberg or Elementor or Divi page builder, it's just similar to them. They all work similarly. So you have layout elements, and you can use these layout elements. So for example, you can have one full width section or 3 1/3 sections. You can just change how they take up a space. So you can just move them or copy them or create another page. You can also, if I, for example, click on this clone cell, it will clone it. And now each one of them is taking 1/4. So if I clone it again, each one of them is taking 1/5. So it's super cool. You can just dynamically change your sizes, or you can just grab them from here. So you can just, for example, take 1/2 section here, or you can just grow its portion or make it smaller. You can just do anything that you want. You can just duplicate them, or edit them. And by editing them, you can just set the margins. If you're familiar, the margins are space around the element. And also you can change the layout, for example, the padding, which is the space in the element and between the content and the boxes. And you can also control the box shadow. You can set up shadow if you want. You can change the background color. These are all done for the section, but then you can just put any kind of content that you want in the section. So you can just add a text block easily, or a separator, or any kind of thing that you want. I'm just going to not save this, so I'm just leaving the page without saving it. And the nice thing is that it has its own built-in portfolio system. So if I just click on portfolio items, you can add your category and then items for that category. So by default, this demo has the category classes, and then we have portfolio items. And the nice thing is that each portfolio item is in fact using the Enfold page builder. So it's not only a picture, it has picture and text and everything. So if I just bring my website and classes, you can see that each class has its text, and if I just click on it, we have some elements there. It's really easy to work with. You only have to create a new item. You just start by creating your items, and then you select the category. So here we have classes defined. You can add a new category. So you just create portfolio items, then put anything you want using the page builder, and you set a category or create a new category, and then you can easily display them in any page that you want. For example, this demo is using them in its classes page. So you can see that we have a section, we have a gallery here, gallery item, and it's just selecting classes category. You can just select any kind of category that you want, or multiple categories, and they will be shown there. It's super nice. So before we end this tutorial, I'm just going to create a page and use the page builder from that. So because I was just talking about pre-made stuff, so it's nice that we have our own page and we create it. So you just create a new page normally, and then you click on Advanced Layout Builder. Then you of course get your options here. You can just set the page title. So I'm just going to call it sample page or my sample page. Then for example, I'm just going to add a full width easy slider. This is really cool. Then you can just with any element click on it and control many options and whatever this element offers. And then I can add any image that I want here. So I'm just going to add some images from my gallery. And then I can just put any caption for each image. So I can just going to type this is a caption. And you can also have a subtext here. So I'm just going to call it this is the caption text. And we can also control the location of our text. By default it's on bottom, but we can just put it on center without frame, and also control the font size. We can just make it bigger. It's unfortunately using pixels, but you can just use other CSS plugins to override it easily. And now I can also add an overlay color. So I'm just going to use this color and save it and save changes and also publish. And now if I visit my page, you can see that we have our caption, we have our overlay color, and our full width slider. Of course, other slides don't have a caption. You can also control the animation. So by default, we are getting this nice animation, but you can just bring the styling, in the advanced and slider animation, and you can choose other animations like split up or down or fade. Now I have my slider, but I can choose any other element that I want. So I'm just going to use a 1/4 section here, and I can just give it a background color if I want. So in the style, I can have box shadow and set the color into black and something like 10 pixel, and also can give it a background color or background image. I can just save it, and now I can just add media elements or content elements. So I can just sort them by usage, so it just brings more popular items, and then I can just add a special heading and text block and also a button, and I can just update it and visit it, and you can say, okay, it's looking very bad. The first thing is that we do not have any padding here, so I can just select my box here, and we have margins and we have also paddings here. I'm just going to give it 30 pixel padding. It's by default using pixels. You can just use percent if you want. Unfortunately, it's not using EMs. That would be much better than percent or pixel, but it's just using old units here. And now it's just better. Also, the drop shadow is very heavy, so I can just bring a styling and box shadow and make it subtle shadow, something like this. And actually I just like flat design without any shadow much more. I just wanted to show you, but I just like no shadow much better. We can also duplicate this section easily and create as many sections and nest them and use them however we want. And this is our tutorial on the Enfold theme, which is a really good theme on my opinion. There are some problems with it. Mostly the units are somehow old, but they are updating it regularly, and also you can just use your own page builder. Other themes are not offering a page builder, so you are getting this by free. And even if we do not consider the page builder, the settings are really cool and gives you lots of options. And that's it, everyone. Thanks for watching. If you like this tutorial, please give it a thumbs up and also subscribe to our channel for more WordPress content. And like always, you can reach our team from the link in the description.